Cashier shames elderly woman at grocery store, but Gma's response leaves her dumbfounded. Cashier shames elderly woman for not bringing reusable bags, and the woman's response is priceless. Here at Factsverse, we think it's priceless that you click that like button, and also be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. The older generation has lived a long time and they have a lot of knowledge and advice to give to us. While there are some people who really want to listen and take their advice, others they think they know everything. The younger generation, for some reason, they think that they have all the answers. Remember those days when you were growing up? You're about 16 or 17. Thought your parents were complete idiots. Yeah, well. One day an elderly woman, she was in the checkout line at the supermarket, and as the young cashier was ringing her out, she asked the woman if she had her reusable bags. The woman told the cashier that she didn't, and the cashier said to the woman that she should bring her own bags because it's better on the environment. While the elderly woman apologized for not having those bags and mentioned that they didn't have this green thing when she was growing up, the cashier told the woman that that was why there are problems today. She told the elderly woman that it was cause her generation didn't care enough about the environment that we're in the situation we're in today. They didn't care about future generations. While this made the woman incredibly angry, as I'm sure you can understand, this cashier shamed an elderly woman at the grocery store. The grandma's response left the cashier dumbfounded. She told the cashier that in her day they returned milk bottles, soda bottles, and beer bottles to the store. There the bottles were sent to the plant to be washed, sterilized, and refilled over and over again. She told the cashier that that is true recycling. Then she repeated her comments that they didn't have the green thing in her day. Next she told the cashier that while she was growing up, groceries, they were all packed in brown paper bags that were often reused for other things, such as covering school books at the beginning of school year. And they did that to make sure the school books weren't defaced, and he gave the students a chance to personalize their books. She then added that they didn't have the green thing in her day. Next, she told the cashier that in her day people walked up the stairs in offices and stores rather than riding elevators. She said that in her day she walked to the grocery store rather than taking a gas-guzzling car. Only a few blocks. She then added that they didn't have the green thing back in her day. Next, she mentioned how in her day, parents washed their babies' diapers because they didn't have the disposable ones that today fill our landfills. She also mentioned that they hung their clothes to dry rather than burning energy running a dryer. She also mentioned the kids wore hand-me-downs rather than getting brand new clothes all the time. She added that they didn't have the green thing back in her day. Well, by this point the elderly woman was getting really fired up. She told the cashier that in her day they had one TV and a radio in the house. That's it. The TV had a screen the size of a handkerchief and not the size of a movie screen like today. She mentioned how in the kitchen they didn't use electric mixers, they did it all by hand. When they set fragile items in the mail, they were wrapped in newspaper rather than styrofoam or bubble wrap. She told the cashier that back in her day they didn't fill the lawn mowers with gas. They used push mowers that caused them to get exercise instead. Today's generation, they go to a gym to walk on a treadmill, and that requires electricity. She then mentioned again that they didn't have the green thing back in her day. The woman told the cashier that day that they drank from a fountain if they were thirsty, rather than carrying around plastic water bottles that end up getting thrown away. They refilled their pens when they ran out of ink, and they replaced the razor blade rather than throwing away the entire razor. She then reminded the cashier that they didn't have the green thing back then. Next, she told the cashier that kids took the bus or rode their bikes to school rather than having their mommies be a 24-hour taxi service. People didn't spend almost as much money on a car as they did on their own house. She also mentioned people had one outlet per room rather than a huge bank for various electrical appliances. Finally, she added that they didn't have 500 channels to watch each day. At the end of her speech, she reminded the cashier that in her day they didn't do the green thing. The cashier stood there speechless. Understandably promising never to question an elderly woman again, I'm guessing. Subscribe for more.